I'm Alyson Hoge of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and I'm going to explain how to make hummingbird nectar. The first thing to talk about is the proportion. Nectar is simply going to be white granulated sugar and water in a proportion of 1 cup of sugar and 4 cups of water. There are people who want to add red dye to it. No, they might want to use molasses or corn syrup or honey or even powdered sugar if they don't have white granulated sugar on hand. That's not what you need to use. 4 cups of water to 1 cup of sugar mimics what a bird would find in nature. Where do birds find nectar out in the wild? Well, they would find it in flowers. But what happens in the wintertime or the fall when there might not be so many flowers? They're going to tree sap, for example. How you make nectar is pretty simple. You pour 4 cups of water into a pitcher, and then you add 1 cup of sugar, and you grab a spoon and you stir it. Some people like to boil the nectar because they feel like it needs to be sterilized. Actually, I don't think I've ever boiled this combination of sugar and water. Why? Because the minute you put it into the feeder, it's going to be contaminated by the hummingbird. So, all right, now that I've stirred it, how do you assemble a feeder with the nectar? This is one style of hummingbird feeder. It holds 1/4 of nectar. And so what you can do is screw one part of the base into there and then pour a little bit of the nectar into there. Depends on how many hummingbirds you think you're going to have. Right now, I've got 1 hummingbird, so I'm not going to pour very much nectar in there because he's not going to drink it all as much as he comes to the feeder. In the summertime, when I have dozens of hummingbirds, they will go through a quart of hummingbird nectar in no time at all. And actually, in fact, I've gone up to as much as 1 gallon in one day. So then, once you put your nectar in there, you take the snap on the bottom here, and then you flip it over. Now, the one thing, a bit of advice I have is wait till you get outside before you flip it over. I have one other thing to bring up, which is another kind of hummingbird feeder, which is one that's more like a disc. You pour the nectar in there, you put the top on, and there you are. Now, what happens in the wintertime when you have a wintertime hummingbird? You can attach a heater to it that has clips on it. You could put it on the base, and then you attach the clips. And actually, it's kind of easier to do this when it's actually hanging on the feeder, just like this. Plug it in, and then when you flip it over, you've got heat for the nectar to keep it from freezing when temperatures get below freezing. And that's all there is to it.